Good morning. Yeah.
Hello. Yes, I did. He's coming in at 2 o'clock. Except that he thought he might have to go to the hospital.
There.
Don, I just sent you that final draft of the survey.
Oh, thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
I took myself off mute, Dusty.
All right, I just put it on there in case you were having a sensitive conversation.
All my conversations are sensitive.
Oh,
Come on, Don. You know that.
no comment.
Thank you.
Your Honor.
Oh, gosh. Oh, my goodness.
I heard you and the other half of the dynamic duo when you did Ask the Lawyer a couple weeks ago.
Oh, we did. Yeah,
You have too much fun, you know.
I do. As you know, you hosted that one time with us. I think it is fun. We really do enjoy it.
I'm on this Saturday with Dale, so
Mhm.
it's always a hoot, no matter what.
Yeah, it is fun. I agree. And this last time, the the people who participated were especially interesting and focused. It was really interesting. It was a great show.
Yeah.
Mhm. While we wait, can I ask how your grandson is doing?
Doing extraordinarily well, despite the severity. 2 more inches, and we would have been at his funeral probably. But believe it or not, was released by his doctor to go back to wrestling after a cut like that. So doing great.
Yeah, well, glad. I know the prayers were flying in all directions. So
We appreciate that. Yeah.
yeah.
A prayerful community.
Yeah.
Margaret, do you have a copy of those bylaws that are
I do. I
updated?
have copies. In fact, I brought with me the whole history from when we first met and the comments from the others reference what was important to them so that I could recollect for folks, like attendance, the paragraphs about attendance and things of that. So that when we do, if depending on the extent of the discussion, when you're ready to do that, I'm not suggesting we do that today, if
Okay.
that not be your desire, but just when people want to recall what was significant at the time we opened the issue, I could recall that for them if they wish, so that we could recall what the history was and what was important at that time as they refresh their memories, because it's been a while. But I'm satisfied with what the final product is. And if they want to know what brought us to this, or even if they want to change the focus, I think this probably is, as you've suggested, an interim anyhow, but for the time being, this gives us something to sink our teeth in. There's our leader here.
Morning, Mayor.
Hello, sorry, I'm trying to get my name changed. I'm struggling with everything.
Your name changed.
Oh, on the screen.
Oh,
At least you're not a cat. Have you guys seen that video going around of the attorney that his granddaughter or somebody had made his Zoom with a cat filter? So he was in Zoom court as a cat.
Funny.
That is the best thing ever.
It is hilarious.
He's on there, he's like, Your Honor, I'm not a cat, I'm a person.
And they all kept a straight face, like nobody even laughed. It
I thought I'd seen it all.
was
Oh, my goodness.
Give it another minute or two. People are still coming in.
The latest memo at the courthouse is, your lawyers, you're not going to get the shot.
All right, looks like we got most of the team. All right. Everybody see the agenda?
Yes,
Excellent.
Is Tim Roberts here? I don't see him.
I did see him.
You did see him? Okay.
Thought
I
so.
think we've got everybody.
Tim, are you there? I didn't see you. I don't think he is, Meredith.
You don't
No.
think he is?
Oh, he might be coming in. We have two more coming in. Oh, it's Emily and Drake. Michelle and I are in a co-host, so we're both trying to admit people at the same time. All right. All right, it's 8:02. Let's get this party started. Welcome to the Downtown Development Authority February 10th meeting. I appreciate all of you being here. It is not a real busy meeting, but I want to go over a lot of details that's been happening here lately and where we're headed. So I want to call the meeting to order. And Meredith, have you done roll call? Can you see?
Yep, I've got it.
Excellent. Roll call's done. All right, the agenda you see in front of you is the one we're presenting for today's meeting. I would like a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
So moved, Jerry.
Is there support?
Second, David.
All right, there's been a motion and support. Any further discussion? If none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. All right, let the record reflect that the minutes are accepted by unanimous vote. Also, I'm not the minutes, the agenda as presented. Now to the minutes from the January 13 meeting. Thank you, Meredith, for those minutes. Has everybody had a chance to review those?
Yes.
All right. If there are no correction, additions, deletion, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
Move.
If I did notice my name was missing from the minutes.
Oh,
Move as amended.
There's a motion with amendment that Mike Orlando was omitted from the minutes.
Second.
Michael, nobody's doing that on purpose, I promise.
not on purpose.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, any other corrections, additions, deletions? If none, I'll entertain a motion to, we already had a motion, didn't we? So,
And
No,
motion support, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
I,
Aye.
all right, I missed both of the motion and support. Could you tell me who that was?
I was the
I
motion.
supported Mark.
Noe and
Motion by
Murray.
Mark.
Noe.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm drinking my coffee, I'll get there. All right, let's move on to committee reports. David, you had a map. I'm going to try to share it here with everyone so they can see the new updated DARA map if I can find it. It was this to me at this time. Let me see. I had it open. There it is. Can anybody see the map or no? We're still seeing the agenda, aren't we?
Nope, it's up.
There it is. All right, yeah. So Dave,
I got the map.
all right, is this it in front of everybody?
Mhm.
Yeah, so obviously, we finally got Mammoth added onto the map. This is a new updated map that they have been supplied with along with cups. I delivered their cups on Sunday to them. I imagine their official license will be delivered to them this week, the DDA for this as well, and look forward to participating in events moving forward. When it comes to First Friday and the downtown events, I can turn that over to Michelle or Diane. I know they've been working on a couple of things if they would like to update in regards to that.
David, thank you for staying on that. You worked hard on that. It's been weeks of trying to get that through the system for Mammoth, so I appreciate you staying on top of it. So in front of you, you
You're
all see the downtown Adrian event calendar that's coming forward and the first Fridays and hopefully we'll be in the spring here really happening. Michelle, do you have anything specific that you'd like to say on these?
Just that this is the list of events that I'm aware of. The ones with question marks are the ones that I don't have confirmed dates yet. So as you're planning things, if you're aware of anything, shoot me an email so I can kind of add it in here. And then I'll just keep sending an updated event list so we all kind of have a picture of everything that's going on.
David, are you going to continue on with that cornhole thing?
Michelle, I was waiting for that email to come with those contact people that were talking about tournaments. And I
Yep.
was going to communicate with them.
And I sent them,
And
sorry, go ahead.
no, you go ahead, dear. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I also sent information to the AMVETs because they were talking about doing a cornhole tournament too. So my
Okay.
hope is that between the three groups, maybe we can, come up with one event. Everybody can kind of work together, but I will send his info to you today.
Okay. Is that
One of the
Perry?
things that we're working on that Michelle is aware of is that Mike McLemore and I have been planning to do a band downtown on First Fridays. We're hoping it's going to be May, June, July, August, September. Mike has agreed to contract with some bands in the $100 to $200 range. And we're hoping, I've, volunteered to support one of those bands. We're hoping that other downtown businesses will step up and sponsor each one of these concerts, these bands, and just so we have more activity going on. Michelle and I are working on logistics as far as setting up and taking down and not being in the way of car shows. We just want to keep more activities happening at, throughout those hours to keep people downtown. So I'll be looking for support from some of you.
Diane, would you say
Diane,
that?
did you say that was like separate from First Fridays, weekly, monthly? What are you?
We're doing it on First Fridays.
Okay.
And we're working with Dave Spenceley from Novus because he's the one that had started, excuse me, doing bands with the car show. But we're looking more at putting it in at Maine and Maumee, but just off to this one side or the other to make sure that we don't, have any problems with the car shows and those cars coming in and out. We're just trying to keep, activities that night going and people staying longer. And like I said, I am going to be looking for people to sponsor a band during those months. I volunteered to do one of them, and it really makes no difference to me which one it is. So you'll be hearing from me.
And I'm sorry, Diane, one more question. You said that was like April to August timeframe?
September too. We're hoping to do September also.
April to September. Thank you.
No, May to September.
May to September.
Yep.
I know that in the past, there was a concern about creating events that gathered crowds toward them and caused the spatial problems and the like that as it relates to COVID. Where are we, Michelle, maybe on that front from the city's perspective?
Much like last year, it's going to be kind of a wait and see type situation. I think outdoor activities are going to be okay. I don't know if we're going to have gathering limits or not. I anticipate we might have some early on, but I think much like last year, as long as people are moving, that's okay. So we'll have to kind of look at that with having bands and how they're set up. Maybe some signage encouraging people not to gather, maybe not having chairs or tables in front of where a band is to not encourage that. We'll just have to kind of see what the rules are and work around it.
All right, thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to bring that up.
I did have someone reach out to me last night actually about asking if we were looking for bands or acoustic music for First Fridays. So I'll pass that information along to Diane if she's interested.
Yep.
And then we also have throughout the season, we'll have people that come along that are interested in performing for free, at smaller locations, not just in the street, but inside a restaurant or a business. So I'll send that out as well as I get those.
Diane, this is Jerry. I can also have Eric Parker has quite a roster of performers in that kind of price range that have been in Farvers. If you're interested, I can have him.
I would love to have that.
Okay, I'll have him stop by.
Thanks.
Diane, could you set a price for the sponsorship? Do you want to set it at 200? I know you said 100 to 200.
Yeah,
range.
I think it's best to go with 200. And if it's less than that, that's great. If it's not,
Understood.
we can make this happen. I know we can.
Okay. Well, I'll certainly you can count me in for one of them. So
I knew you would.
Diane, are you just targeting downtown businesses specifically for the first round of sponsorships, or are you?
Anybody can sponsor. It doesn't matter.
I can send it
You're
up the
not going to
flagpole
get
here.
anything for it.
Well, thank you for your work on that, Diane. That'll be important, and it's about the atmosphere and probably create a very nice downtown events. So nice First Fridays. So Michelle, thank you for your work on this. I think one of the things we need to think about and we talk about, and we'll talk about in a minute as we present it to the commission, is that we have fundraising activities that are going to need to take place as well as event planning and events. So we have this signature event, Artalicious, of course, and all of our great First Fridays. I think we need to start thinking about another major event for our downtown. And start coming up with an idea that comes with that, because as you'll see in our budget, we not only is there Artalicious, but we should probably have another signature event of some sort. And I know Dave is contemplating on Blues and Brews on where we go with that, but I think we need to even think bigger scale, and it could be a part of it. But I just wanted to open up that for discussion.
Is the Airstream event this year?
No, it'd be 2023, Kevin.
I'd love to see the Adrian International Film Festival potentially be considered for that signature event. I shot an email to Dusty ahead of this meeting. I'm not sure if this is an appropriate time.
It's fine. It's fine.
Looking for some assistance from the DDA for this year's event. We've decided that a hybrid is likely our best model, working with my interns, Scott Westfall, on that. And what we think that could look like is a single outdoor screening on Friday night. So I noticed earlier on the event calendar, actually, it's still up there. It's actually April 23rd, 24th is the intended weekend. The 23rd being the Friday night, do an outdoor screening, Mommy right at the Four Corners area, if possible, and bring in some additional entertainment, maybe a band as we're waiting for the sun to set, and involve the bars in that area as well. We need some assistance from the DDA in regard to getting those streets closed and some promotion for the event. I heard just some conversations about bands a moment ago, maybe securing that as well. But really just looking to see what the DDA, what we may be able to work together on.
Michelle, is that scheduled to have street closings on that 23rd and 24th, I guess is what the numbers are?
It's not scheduled, so we would need a street closure permit request with the dates and times when the street closure would need to begin.
And times. And what would you think, Michael? Closing time would be, can we do it later afternoon after business hours? Or would it be a Friday? Is it a Friday, Saturday?
A couple, or at least I think we did one outdoor screening with Michelle last year with the city. Setup is really about an hour. So I'd say we could let those businesses close at 5 and shut it down right around maybe 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock.
Okay. I'll circle back with you on that. We'll get the permit going if that's.
What are you thinking in terms of dollars from the DDA?
Minimal, if any at all. Some promotional dollars might be well spent to get some additional folks downtown. I've met with Justin at Visit Lenawee, talk a little bit about what we may be able to do there. We've already spoken about a sponsorship for transportation to and from the colleges, and we'll use our channels for promotion, of course, but any other way to get the word out and get some folks downtown for the event would definitely be appreciated.
Now, Michelle,
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to support the event and add some dollars if the committee so sees fit.
Mark, can I clarify for just a moment? Thank you for the motion. So in our previous meetings, we allocated some funds to the city to be partnership in some of the advertising for events in downtown, not just First Fridays, but citywide events too. But I mean, they do citywide events too with their package, but remember we added some money to that. You, Michelle, you would have used advertising or something in that nature for the film festival in the past. Was that part of your budget?
It was not, but we can use some of our radio advertising for that.
Okay.
We do have some community conversations and AM interviews, and we could probably put some commercials towards it as well.
Does that sound good, Michael? You have to be on the radio.
Oh, I think I can dust off the old radio.
I think we did some of that for the ice rink before, Michael, so it would be similar to that.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that would be great. Just in regard to the hybrid event, the rest of the film festival will be offered online by donation only. We've talked to the library about potentially simulcasting that, so people just kind of foot traffic, have a chance to maybe sit down and watch what's going on as it continues to stream. But also willing to take any additional ideas that the DDA may have. Many of you have helped with the film festival in the past, so understanding what we do, it'd be great to hear what you think we could do this year.
Awesome. So if you have ideas for Michael, really, be glad to reach out to him. I appreciate your passion on this event. It's something that you've stayed with and continue to work on. And I think it's a great event for our downtown. So thank you.
Thank you.
So even then, I look back and ask myself the bigger picture. You know, in the past, when I helped with the Maple City Fest, if you remember, and it got fairly large, and it was a signature event in this town. At the time, 5 charities were able to make it their signature event too, and that was the structure behind it. It was amazing how the American Red Cross and different ones did Taste of Lenawee and different things where they were able to make quite a bit of money during that signature event. I'm not saying I want to chair something like that again, but I'm thinking that big in the future as to how we bring this all together. I know Our Delicious is really almost that big, but of course, the thing that shut it down in the past, really, I believe, is when we let the bars get too big and the big parties that were going on, they were getting a little bit too outrageous. So the family-friendly nature of Our Delicious has made that great. So maybe we just expand upon that. But I want everybody to start thinking about it, and maybe at next meeting we have come up with some more ideas. All right. Any further discussion on that? All right, thank you, Michelle, and everybody for that. And let's move on. All right, we will now move on to Brad, and let's see if I can get your reports up. Is it showing? It is. Brad, are you there? Brad, I don't know if you're not muted, but your sound's not connecting somehow. You're back. You there?
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yep, I can.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so I don't really have anything significant to report on our monthly financial statement. Also, our balance sheet, nothing really significant to report there either. I did email out a budget draft, which would be the 3rd document there. There you go. With the green column over on the right side there is what we're going to be putting in on Friday, which is the deadline to submit these budgets. Now, if you go down just a little bit further there, you'll notice a line that says under other projects, it'll say supplies, special projects, and go all the way over to the right there. You'll see that $48,570. That's effectively our usable budget for the fiscal year next year. And if we end up, making a hire or doing whatever in the next fiscal year, we can always move that money to another line item if necessary. But that's basically the things that we have control over for the next year. That's kind of like our surplus that we have control over for the next fiscal year. And I don't know if we were going to kind of talk a little bit about what our presentation happened last Monday there, Dusty, but I was going to mention that, we also have that we have a balance in our bank accounts of, I think it was one of those slides in there. I think it was like 190,000 or something like that, which is our expected balance at the, expected balance at the end of this fiscal year is 195,000. So we have a nice cushion there if we want to take some action in the upcoming months and year. And with that $48,000 potential surplus there, we're going to be able to make some things happen if we so decide.
Excellent. So I think I'll just take this opportunity, since it's really not on the agenda, if you will, because it leads to something that I want to discuss as regards to what that budget is he's submitting here and what the budget really we want it to look like if we're a Main Street organization, what that looks like in the future. So I want to go ahead and thank Mark Murray and Drake Lawley and Brad and Dave for getting together to help make this presentation. This presentation didn't look this good until Drake Lawley got his hands on it and made it look beautiful. So everybody can see the presentation. So he made this, and then we showed our team. We talked about what the Michigan program is, the 4 pillars that they stand by, what the benefits of the program. I'm not going to go through all this in great detail. We talked about Governor Whitmer and her commitment on $225 million on 3 programs, one of which is the Main Street Initiative. We also talked about a new thing that's happening, reopening Main Street, that they have focused on. You'll see at the MEDC site. We talked about the impact and the amount of public dollars that came into the communities. We talked about the other cities that are committed to the Main Street program, and Then we move to the engaged level where we're at today and what we're trying to get to in the select level. This is our full budget, and what Brad illustrated to them as far as our total revenues. A large part of it goes to parking. We've been talking about this since we've gotten together. We also have refuse collection that goes in and then back out. We collect it and then send it back out. So still, we don't have this much control of all of that. Now, if we move even further, this is where he's getting into that number. What do we have control of? It's not exact as that, but that future budget is more like 48, but we've seen some improvement in tax collections as far as values up, and
Yes, we have. Yep.
We're starting to see that expand a bit. So that's what that difference is most likely. Then we moved into some of the projects that we've done and things that we're being able to do, but we want to have more impact. And we talked about if we had a manager or a Main Street director, what would they do? And they would add revenue, and the revenue and eventually pay for themselves and then some. But they have a large job description. We asked the commission it's prior to budget season, and that's why the deadline's coming up. We were just trying to get there. And if you remember, Main Street's deadline for application is now July 31st. So the pressure was sort of off, but not to the extent that we wanted to get a commitment from our commission to see if we can make them or get them involved as far as helping us support that director, if you will, that executive director. So this is the slide I was trying to get to illustrate that. This is what I think our budget, and Brad, maybe you can expand upon this.
Yeah, so we're basically going to try to follow the Main Street model of where our money should be coming from in terms of funding the entire Main Street budget. And so, as you can see, we've got this property tax revenue and event revenue and fundraising revenue, and those kind of make up those 3/3 that we're talking about. And of course, we're asking for that chunk from the city there too, which will be, obviously nice to have. But so, this could get us to the point where, we actually have a little bit more money that we actually have control over. Obviously, if there's a salary involved, then a nice chunk of that will go to that, but hopefully we can continue on expanding our budget in the future with that person working full time. So.
Yeah, we talked a lot to the commission about accountability and who the employee would be of, and the statement we made was that it would be a DDA employee. This would be an investment in a partnership with the city, a strong partnership. That person may not be on site, they may be at the armory working on our behalf. They'd report to us as a board. We would do all the performance evaluations and upkeep, and then report that to the commission with pure transparency. And we'll be able to see if that person is effectively doing this amazing job description that Dave Thomas put together. And we tried to show them that there is going to be accountability. There is going to be performance evaluations and everything that comes with it. There was some concern over benefits. We've done a little research, and we believe we could offer that benefits package that's similar to the cities, but it's because in the past you would forego a pension if you were not getting the benefits of the city, but today that's not the case. So you can mimic a retirement plan, you can mimic health insurance that are fairly close to what they offer. So as we get closer to that, one of the things that we see now that we have a fairly large budget size, and we're trying to move to that, is that if we can see that the commission is moving in that direction, and we see they adopt it into their budgets, or at least we start to get that feel, we believe we're in a position right now to start the search. As soon as we know and we feel that the commission is going to do that, we can begin the search. And the reason that I'm making that differentiation is that their budget won't start till July 1st. So if they make an approval, that doesn't cash flow till July 1st, but we believe we're at a position and would like to recommend to this board, once we have that we start to move forward on the hiring process. Is there any discussion on that?
When does this get presented, Dusty?
We did present it last Monday night. Yeah.
Okay, so you're waiting on them to approve that 5-year commitment?
Yeah, Angie, maybe you can expound about the timeline and how you guys work through your operating budget meetings and how that all works.
Yeah, so it was presented at the pre-meeting, but now
sorry about that.
Yes, it was presented at the pre-meeting. So that's just a like a discussion and a study session. So then if it's going to proceed further, then it has to go to a resolution that will be presented at a city commission meeting. And Greg is also on here. I don't know if he is planning to put that on the next agenda. We're actually meeting today about the agenda.
Okay.
but we haven't met yet. And I don't know. I have not had anyone reach out to me. I don't know if Greg has had anyone reach out to him with concerns other than the concerns that were expressed in the pre-meeting. I know still one of the concerns is just, performance and can we revisit this after 5 years if we're not seeing the benefits of it with the city paying in. I know that came up, Dusty, in that pre-meeting study session. So that was one of the concerns. There were a few others I can't remember right now, but that one stuck out in my mind. So just that performance and seeing the results and the commission not wanting to commit longer if there were results not being seen from that position. But Greg can answer a little bit more. Like I said, we're meeting about the agenda this afternoon, so he may not. But we were going to discuss this afternoon, but I'm not sure where that's at.
Yeah, it's not on my draft agenda at this point. This is, of course, the week that budgets are due, and so in terms of the budget, if it's your desire to have that in there for the upcoming fiscal year, if that's important to you in terms of showing some demonstration of the commitment for the Main Street group, I would suggest you propose that in your budget. Not to say it will stay in. We're working on a budget workshop date with the city commission in mid to late March. We haven't nailed down that date yet, but that's kind of the way the cycle is set up, and so now's the time to make that proposal. I would say, at least at the administrative level. I leave it to you as to when you would like me to put something on the agenda, when that's important to you. I mean, I'll put it on there whenever you ask me to. We can prepare a resolution. I didn't get, and you guys can correct me if you had a different impression. I didn't get clear direction from the city commission at the pre-meeting on the issue, so I didn't feel like I had marching orders to do one thing or another as it relates to the agenda. The way to get a decision is to put the question on the regular meeting agenda, of course.
And it might be, Greg, in response to that, I have not received any responses either, nay or yay. However, it might just be exactly what Greg said. Like we know we have this budget workshop coming up. I think they are, the budget, I think it's going to almost be in a lot of their minds, like, if it gets approved through the budget, then, we can vote on that and we move forward. I'm thinking it might be that budget, proposal and that submission and going that route and, taking a look at all of those factors before they make that decision by us going in. I know that delays it a little bit, but I do think in the back of their minds, because I was actually thinking that same way, is, well, we look at everything we have and where we're at, and we go through that, since it is budget proposal time, and we're going through and we're doing this workshop, and then we proceed from there, after going through the budget process. But it's up to you. I mean, like Greg said, it's that's where I was seeing it as well, and I'm kind of thinking that's why I haven't heard anything from commissioners. I'm not sure, because usually if they're very strong against or for something, we're hearing it right away. And I've had other conversations, and that hasn't been one of them. And I'm thinking maybe that's partly why.
So I think, when you talk about adopting the budget, and if we had a line item in there for 35,000 to the DDA, you accept the whole budget as one, and that sort of ratifies it through the system. But the Main Street also wants to see an actual resolution, and Greg has one sort of prepared if we get to that point, or at least we've got some examples. Because we thought the deadline was February 4th, so I was really putting the pressure on, but now it's not so pressure filled. So even if you guys work through February, March, and when do you guys have to complete? April something, first meeting? And submit your budget? When's it adopted?
I believe that's correct.
I think it's the first meeting in April. Even there, we would have enough information at that point if it was adopted to move forward. So I need to schedule a time for us to come to a regular city commission, or do you want to go through this workshop and give us direction after that?
Like I say, I think if you're ready for us to present a resolution, we will.
Oh.
If there's time to wait and you want to wait until after the workshop, so you have I guess some more indication what the commission's position on it's going to be, we can do that as well. I would, but I would like it in the draft budget, whatever it is that you're asking for them to commit to.
So then I guess if everybody does agree, I think they should work through the workshop. They should honestly talk about it, make sure it's one of their priorities, and commit to it, or at least start to see them commit to it, and then we could come back and get that formal resolution. Is that okay?
Yeah, I feel like it's backwards to go the other way. I feel like if you do the resolution and then go back and,
Right.
they're looking at the budget, I do feel that's backwards. And I realized there was a time crunch at one point, but now that there's not, I just feel that it would be a better process and it would just go a lot smoother if we went that route, Dusty.
I would agree. I didn't want to, last thing I want to do is create a pressure situation. I just want it to be, I want it to be understood that it is a great thing we're asking for. We're committed to it. We're ready. For those of you that were watching the presentation, I thought our guys and our team did good. And I think it's really, backed up by a lot of work that we have done to get ready for this moment. So thank you for letting us be at the study session, Greg and Mayor, and we'll wait through the workshops and then we will come back around and see what happens then. Any other discussion on that?
Just a comment, Dusty.
Yes.
I think it might be smart and maybe, as long as we're not getting any discouragement from city commissioners, to maybe think about actually advertising the position, like have it ready to go April 1, so that you can, to stay on top of the timeline for when you want to have this position hired.
Mm-hmm.
So, just like until we hear that someone's not happy with it, let's continue to move forward. So refining job description and benefit package and all of that, so it's ready to go April 1 would just be my suggestion.
I like it. Anybody else? Would everybody agree with that?
Yes.
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 Yep.
Excellent. Thank you, Jerry. That puts us on a timeline and it's right in line with the budgets. So
What I'll do is I'll add a line item that's basically that $35,000 ask to the proposed budget. Now, do we need a motion to accept that proposed budget, me submitting that to the city, or?
we do. And so we would
Yes.
want to adjust it with that, that $35,000
Sure.
line item in it.
So move.
To that extent, Brad, how much of the budget needs to look more like this PowerPoint illustration right here?
I mean, as we described to the city, if they do submit that to us, it goes into our large bucket and then we get to do whatever we want with it. Obviously our intent is going to be to hire that person, but for the time being, for this submission here, given the fact that we don't have a lot of line items set up in our budget for, salaries and all these different things, I would imagine I'll just put it in that special projects, and then whatever we end up deciding to do with it, we can pass a resolution through the board to move it to a other line item if necessary.
I guess one of the questions I have in regards to that, and I'm sorry, whoever I'm interrupting, I'm not saying it, but if we're proposing a budget that's similar to last year's budget as opposed to what we expect it to be coming forward, because we said to them, one of our responsibilities is to raise 50 grand a year, that the events were sort of a pass-through. Right. But that big piece, we're not illustrating on the budget, and I don't know if we should or shouldn't.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, that was going to be my comment, if I could interrupt for a second.
Sorry, yes, please.
So you want to I would say you want to reflect in your draft budget what the proposed expenses associated with that position are going to be, so the salary and benefit. And then you're going to have to reflect that on the revenue side from some other sources besides the contribution you're asking from the city, as you just pointed out.
Okay. Okay. So I could make all those changes. How would you guys like me to, given the fact that we need a motion to submit it and the fact that it's due on Friday, how would you like me to, how would you like to proceed with that then?
Well, I think what I'll do is entertain a motion to adopt the budget with the changes that were so recommended, and that is to
Okay.
reflect the revenue increases from $50,000 increase in commitments from our stakeholders, as well as I think we said the price range of the salary range that we're going to have for our director was going to be between 50 and 60,000. So just pick 55 in the center of that. And make that presumption. And then I'll circle back with you on benefits cost, and so that you can add that item in there. So without further discussion, I just entertain a motion to that respect.
Margaret made that.
Yeah, I did.
I'll second.
Like that.
Guys, sorry, I was talking on mute. I want to make sure I have the motion reflected correctly in the minutes. I have the motion to adopt the budget with changes to reflect 50K revenue commitment to support the Main Streets director. Is that correct?
Yeah, it'll also reflect the 35,000 from the city. It'll also reflect the expense related to hiring a director with benefits and salary of 55,000. Sorry, so detailed, but.
Okay, so adopt budget with changes to reflect 50K revenue commitment to support Main Street's director position and a 35K commitment from the city.
And yes, that's fine.
Okay, and who were my motion and support, please?
There's Margaret, and who was the support?
Support.
David.
Tim.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on that? If none, all those in favor of accepting the budget as we described it, indicate by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, the same. Again, Brad, thank you for all your hard work on this. I know you know all of us are busy, and you've done some digging in and details and this great presentation on the PowerPoint. He made 6 or 7 or maybe 8 slides. He did give some great work, and I can't thank you enough. So I truly appreciate it. We all appreciate it. All right, back to the agenda. If I can see it, where'd it go? There it is. Can you guys see it?
Yep.
All right, awesome. All right, beautification branding committee design. Jerry Ryder, anything new on the spring and summer decorations?
Not really anything new. No.
Okay. All right, Kevin Iott, anything new on the Midwest Sculpture Initiative?
No, not other than, we've got our ask letter written and are getting ready to release that soon.
All right, Kevin, do you say there's a committee that has been developed as it relates to this?
I'm not sure.
Gotcha.
Certainly not as part of the DDA, no.
Okay, so I think it's important that the DDA be a part of this and be a part of that committee, or one or two of us on the DDA. I think it's very important that we stay close to that and are a part of the decision-making process. So if there is a committee that actually, I know, Michelle, we had a committee, Ken and all those were on it. Has that met? Have they met lately?
I do not know if they've met yet or not.
All right. Is there a time that Kevin, that there is when we have to have our orders in, or when the commitments need to be made?
I'll take a look right now through my emails, see if I can find that out.
All right.
Dusty, last year I served on that, and I know that we were trying to make our final decisions. It literally was like a couple days before the whole state shut down. So that would have been mid-March. Yeah. So right around mid-March is when we were trying to make final decisions, because Ken Thompson was saying that we needed to get those in, right away, and in order to get them on time. So I do know that was the timeline last year, because I did serve on that.
Yeah, I would think they would have to be meeting pretty soon to get started on it.
I'll find that out immediately after this meeting and circulate that around.
If you don't mind, and then any of you that would like to volunteer, Angie, if you want to be back on that, or just a couple of us to be a part of that, I just want to keep that close to us. It is an activity, I think, while it has been funded by Stubnitz at 5,000 in the city for 5,000 passed through our budget a couple times with some overages. I just think it's one of those activities that once we start thinking Main Street, once we start thinking bigger, it is one of our activities we'd like to have.
Dusty, I'd be happy to serve on that committee if you're looking for volunteers.
Meredith, that'd be great. Thank you. Anyone else?
I would, Dusty.
Margaret, thank you. So Kevin, if you would reach out to Meredith and Margaret when that committee meeting is going to be scheduled, that'd be great.
Yes, I will. And I likely will be involved in the whole process as well.
You too. So there'll be another DDA person. Awesome.
And Kevin, from the city level, I'm more than willing. I really enjoyed that and thought that we all worked really well together. So I'm more than willing as well.
Great.
Thank you, Kevin, for leading the charge on that. I appreciate it. Emily, anything new on our website and social media?
I just have a couple of things to report. I want to do a Dara district push. I was kind of waiting for the restaurants to open again. So I'm going to start formulating that now that we have a final map that I can send out. I also want to look at doing a retail and restaurant campaign now that things have started to open back up and we're getting vaccines out. It's still promoting mask wearing downtown and social distancing. I did look in the bylaws and there's nothing specific that states that we can't promote a specific business. So I did just want a little bit of guidance or approval if it's necessary to move forward with campaigns that are more specific. I know that we changed, Michelle and I talked about this a little bit. We did change our page from a government page to a community page so that we would have that allowance. But I was just looking for some approval or anything before I moved forward with that. I didn't want to be in violation of anything as I'm still pretty new.
So when you say campaigns, are you looking to spotlight a downtown business or all of them at once? I like the idea of supporting a Dara district party, by the way, or an event outside that's all about the Dara district. And I know that was something you'd mentioned in an email to me, Emily, but tell me a little bit more about spotlighting.
So just for an example, with Visit Lenawee, I run all the marketing there and we do Foodie Fridays. So every Friday is a different restaurant around Michigan or around Illinois County, excuse me. Because they've been closed, we've kind of put that on pause, but normally we would do Foodie Fridays. Sometimes we'll repeat restaurants if it's been like a few months and they're having an event or a deal or a discount. Justin and I have always kind of rationalized that if people are putting out marketing content and they're a viable partner to us, we do it that way. I know that the DDA members of the DDA, they pay a TIF tax, so we would have to make sure that we're looking at efforts that equally represent. But I would be more than happy to put that campaign together and get it started with those things in mind. So it could be like weekly posts, a monthly post, maybe something in anticipation for First Friday. Maybe it's a Monday post. Hey, you can visit this partner downtown and participate in First Friday, something in conjunction with an event, anything like that works.
I think it's awesome.
Is it possible to get kind of like a schedule, like a 6 or 8 week out, you kind of plan? I think that would help kind of understand, what the ideas are.
Yeah, I can draft something up. Social media just changes all the time. And so I can draft up a plan knowing that there will have to be some accommodations made for that. But yeah, I can get a plan to the next meeting.
That's awesome.
Great, thank you.
And then just a little tidbit of information. Visit Lenawee is now downtown. We have a space across from Hammerman's. So we're excited to be a stakeholder in the downtown, and we are planning some future events and sponsorships and partnerships. So we're excited to be a partner, but I don't have any more details to share with you.
Well, welcome to, well, you were downtown, but welcome to the inner downtown, really to the main street.
Yeah.
126 Main, South Main, right?
Yes.
Excellent. Any objections to Emily moving forward? I think she's doing great. Excellent. Emily, thank you. We'll look forward to seeing your report in the next meeting.
Thank you.
All right, on to the organizational committee, and Diane and Margaret. And Margaret?
Diane, did you want me to say something, or do you want to take that over real quickly?
Well, you finished it, so why don't you go ahead?
Well, we both definitely started it. We have put together a final copy of what we're proposing for the new bylaws. If you remember, some time ago, we were handed bylaws that were adopted in June of 17. We have reviewed them. At that time, we were looking at bylaws that addressed private investment. It was really driven by the mayor at that time. I mean, that's that the bylaws called for that. And we looked at, it called for the presidents from the university and the college. We had to redefine a secretarial position from that of clerical to a very active role, called for a quorum of 7, not 8. Diane and I had an opportunity to look into and do some research on Open Meetings Act, conflict of interest topic. It called for a section 10. You had asked us to look closely at the attendance records and indemnification, and we worked with the city administrator and Dusty to get a better definition on that. Anyhow, we have finished them. They would call for a review and to be signed off by the commissioners with a new date of amendment and adoption. I think I've sent them over to Dusty. I don't know if you got them or not, Dusty, because they sort of look like they might have come back to me.
Yeah.
But if not, you should have a hard copy and I'll get those to you. I think they should go out to everybody to at least have a look at, maybe be put back on the agenda. I would encourage people to take a look at the ones that we had in June of 17. Take a look at them. We should have a period of at least an opportunity to question them again. I think, Dusty, that would be your call. And then Diane and I would seek amendment ratification from this group to the commissioners. Dusty?
I have
Diane?
not. Oh, go ahead.
Diane, did you have anything else?
No, that's that. I think we want to call for a vote after everybody's seen it
Yeah,
and approved it.
I think we accepted our challenge and we give it back to you now, having concluded the same.
All right, so I did not get an electronic copy yet, but I'll work with you after the meeting to get a copy of that. I will then disseminate to all of you today. I think as a matter of procedure, it should be presented on this day. And then as of next meeting, we can adopt or at least accept it. And Margaret, you mentioned, is it a formality to have the commission adopt our bylaws?
Well, the 2017 ones do say that they were adopted.
Greg, do you know if that's a
Adopted by the
prerequisite?
City Mayor and Downtown Development Authority Board. But because we reference, maybe, or I don't know, because it references some activities and indemnification and other things, I don't know. I think that city administrator might want to brush over them just the same. And it does have reference to the mayor. I think that they would want to certainly look at them in the dual role capacity, I would think. Maybe not the commissioners, maybe that's overwhelmed, but I think that definitely the mayor and the city administrator would want to look at them. But they'll get them in the course of their receipt of documents from this committee as well, right? As a downtown development.
Yes, yep.
I think that's probably sufficient.
Okay.
I'll let them decide that for themselves, but I think that would be sufficient.
Yeah, it would be typical, I think, for the DDA to simply adopt them, but
Okay.
we should probably review the statute just to make sure there's nothing in there that makes a special exception for the DDA.
I think, for example, on insurance, I changed that to be the board of directors, officers, and liability insurance is provided in accordance with an umbrella policy provided by the city of Adrian, period. I mean, that's how I handled that, so that we were not really, if it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. But you might want to take a look at that just to make sure that's how you wanted that worded, Greg.
Okay.
All right. Okay, that will get to you, Dusty, today, and then disseminate, and we'll come back. But
Fantastic. Thank you for your work on that, Mark. Thank you for your work on that, Diane. You guys stayed with it for, I think it's been on the agenda for a year.
Hey, timing is everything.
okay.
So maybe one more time and we'll get it off the agenda. That would be nice.
A lot of research.
All right, any other discussion on the bylaws? You'll have a copy by this afternoon. All of you. All right, we'll move on to our fundraising committee. It had a lot of the same faces, but Jerry Ryder was on it as well. And we had David and Drake and Brad and myself and the like. And we started talking about what does that fundraising campaign look like for Main Street? And how do we develop a plan? The first thing we did is to really start compiling names of stakeholders and people all the way from the downtown all the way out to all of our citizens and leaders and families that are committed to the downtown. So Jerry, would you like to expand upon that a little bit?
No, I don't. I think, we've got the list going and we're working on some marketing materials to go with that. All systems go.
And we've taken the brochure that Emily gave us. I think we're tweaking the commitment part of it. Emily, not to tread on that a little bit, but Drake and I, we grabbed that. We got some pictures from a cloud from Michelle of all downtown activities with people and everything. So we're adding to our picture base for media. So I want to make sure we don't, not have us all involved in that together, working together on that. But there was some great ideas that came out that is beyond me, and that is online giving apps where we can set it up. Maybe Brad, you can explain this. You guys can set up a spot for us to do some online giving.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we can set up a website with, payment portal, recurring, one time, there's lots of ways that we would be able to set it up. Hopefully that would be the small targets, where we're looking to collect a small amount of money from a lot of people. And I think we're going to get good support with a campaign like that. And we're going after larger donors face to face.
Absolutely.
If you'd like me to edit anything in that brochure, feel free to send anything over.
You got it. Absolutely. And we asked Drake to communicate with you on that too. So we'll make sure we're all working together on it. All right. Any other discussion on that? So for the next 4 or 5 months, we're going to be illustrating that we have broad-based community support. So we can say that, and I think we will. And what I'd love to see is a stack of commitments. And I don't care if they're $10, but there's, I want to see 100, 200 people that have made a donation to it. I think that shows a lot, and I think we can get it done. So. I already went over the Main Street level the Main Street application due July 31st. I did talk about. We've talked about that at length. That application is extensive and needs a lot of information. A lot of it has been done in the past, so we don't have to redo too much of it. But we'll start bringing that up in April, somewhere in that time, to start getting that application together. Now we move on to a sign approval. And as you heard earlier, Visit Lenawee is headed downtown. I did not get this out to all of you in time, so we'll just sort of review it together. And I don't mean to rush anybody, but I didn't see that it was an outrageous sign request. This comes from Jeremy, and that's one of the things that we have to approve, give our blessing, if you will, that it has the right, that it's not outside. The measurements are okay. They're all within what they're supposed to be, so we don't have to worry about those types of facets. It's just the look of it as whether or not we think it matches up with our downtown or does it concern us. So let me rotate this document. if I know how to do that. No, I can't. So can everybody see this?
Nope, still agenda here.
I'm sorry. There.
There you go.
Anybody know how to use Adobe and make this thing turn counterclockwise? Is it under view? Oh, there it is. I want it to clockwise. There. So that, if I'm not mistaken, Emily, this is your guys' signature signage anyways, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Does anybody have any concerns?
Pretty sure that was the same.
I'm sorry, David?
I have no concerns. I know that was the same sign. That was the same sign that they had on their building previously when they were downtown. So it's just a standard formality that we just have to approve it again.
So moved.
There's been a move by Mark Murray. Is there support?
Support David.
David supported. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All those opposed,
Aye.
the same. All right, let the record reflect that we approved the Visit Lenawee sign, and I'll get that back to Jeremy so he can move forward with that. All right, so Lenawee now, Tim, I see you're there. I don't know if Jim's there. You guys got any updates? What's going on?
Yeah, well, Jim begs forgiveness. He had his second COVID shot and he's feeling a little under the weather today. But the big news we had is the survival grant, the Michigan State or the state of Michigan Small Business Survival Grant. The committee came together, made the awards at the end of January. I believe all the money has been awarded out now. For Lenawee, there were $2.8 million worth of requests. The amount of money we had allocated to Lenawee for grants was $436,000. Of the 2.8 million requests, 1.2 was Adrian. There was 175 requests in Lenawee County. We awarded 65 of those requests. 27 of those were in the city of Adrian for about $189,000. Most of it was downtown.
Great job.
This grant was aimed, I believe, more at the retail restaurant segment.
As it should have been. They've taken the hardest hit. So thank you, Jim. Thank you for being strong in that area. I know you reached out to a lot of people. My hope is that when we have a director, we'll be able to facilitate that better, those types of things. And not that we hope that there's any more COVID grants that are necessary, but as far as our relationship and partnership with you guys, we appreciate it. Any questions for Tim?
Tim, Mark Murray, that's a lot of work that you guys went through. Thank you very much for your due diligence and your stewardship on those resources. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, I have made all my comments so far, so I really don't have any others to make. So I'm going to move right into public comment.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
John Taylor?
Yes, sir.
A couple of things. Number one, very pleased to see, even though it's going to be partially virtual, the film festival coming back strong this year after what happened to all of us last year. And I know this involves a lot of work and a lot of effort, but I agree with the chairman that another downtown event, I like the fact that the film festival is, April or May. Let's look at doing something in the middle of the summer if we can. We have Artelicious in September. I think at least one more signature event through the year would be great. And I think summer's a good time. So if we keep that on our radar screen, I would truly support that. We're moving forward full bore with Artelicious. We're confident we can hold it this year. So thank you for your time.
No, thank you. And thank you for your commitment and all your work you do on Artelicious. It's greatly appreciated.
I have a quick comment if that's okay.
Sure.
I just wanted to say thank you for the DDA's partnership on the radio advertising. All of our sponsor spots for the months went very quickly, like literally within 48 hours, they were all taken. So I really appreciate that. That helped out a lot. And I think that's a good partnership for us to have.
Yeah, that was fantastic, Michelle. And thank you for structuring all that, being an advocate for expanding that budget and impact of that budget. And I'm real pleased that, sold out in 48 hours. That was quick. That's fast. Any other public comment today? Hearing none, are there any other DA matters that we'd like to bring forward?
Mr. Chair, question. In looking at grant opportunities into the future, the Main Street program directors indicated that we have a lot of opportunities. One question that came up was that we needed to complete the redevelopment ready communities program that the state of Michigan has. And I was, we were into that process a year or so ago. I was just wondering if anybody was aware of where that process might be for the city of Adrian.
Well, we're still in that process. The new master plan is obviously an important component on their checklist of items that need to be completed in order to complete the process. My understanding of the program as it relates to a city with a traditional downtown is that as long as you remain engaged, you are availed of all the opportunities of the program. So I think those grant opportunities are available to us as long as we continue working on our checklist. As I say, that's been my understanding. It's a long road to actual certification. There's a lot of items, and we're ticking off two of them with two of the bigger ones with the master plan, of course, which was funded by Redevelopment Ready Communities program to a large extent as well. It's in addition to the master plan that will have an economic development strategy, which the city had been lacking as well. So those two will be knocked off the checklist when that's done. We got a little bit of a slow start on master plan because of the pandemic and the failure of the first efforts at public engagement. I should say on our website is our new master plan survey, which we're having good success with. We plan to keep open for the remainder of this month, and then things should go more quickly after that and get wrapped up in the first half of 2021.
Greg, thanks for that update. And if you need any help from our group, please let us know how we can be supportive. And one thing we should all do is to be sure that we've filled out that survey for the city of Adrian. It's online, it's relatively short, and please suggest others do the same. It'd be nice to have a really strong turnout on that survey. Thank you.
Greg, what is the, I know we already had more than we had the last time when we tried to do this just the other day, but I know I've been sharing it like crazy and a lot of people are telling me they have filled it out. Do you know what the number is on that survey rate as of right now?
Last night we're at about 305 or so.
It's 332.
The first time.
Okay.
372?
What's your target for that?
It's at 332 right now.
332.
We're just going to keep it open through the month. We'd love to get to at least 500. I think with the economic development survey we did, we got a little over 600 responses.
Thank you.
So do all of you have the link? Have you guys been provided with the link? I know I did. Michelle, you sent it. Did you send it to all the DDA?
I sent it out to my First Fridays group. I
probably.
believe Matt at the chamber was going to send it out, but I haven't seen that yet. And then we have the DDA or the downtown group we can send it out to as well.
Awesome. So pass it along to your friends. That means a lot. If you can get 600, 600, it really backs up the application process and all the process they're going through to become what we need to be, redevelopment community.
Hi, this is Jared. Can I just ask a question about that? Is it appropriate for the Croswell to forward that to like our patron base? Sure. They would not all be Lenawee County people, but
You don't necessarily have to be a city resident to fill it out. There's a category for letting us know whether you are or you're not. And
Okay.
a small percentage are not right now.
Okay, we'll do that. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's great, Jerry, because even a lot of the questions just pertain to things when it comes to, you know, shopping in the, like retail, even in the whole city, not just downtown, but there's specific questions in there, you know, and it might pertain to people that come into Adrian to patronize restaurants, you know, retail, whatever it might be. You know, that they're looking at the buildings coming in, because there's a part in there even about how our presence is and how things look. You know, there's a lot of great questions in there. And I think many people could answer that just are visiting from, you know, that come to Croswell Productions all the time.
Thank you.
And for that matter, any of you connected to List, we can spread this out. I'll circle back with Matt and found out from Drake really early this morning, I was having my second cup of coffee, that Matt wasn't on my mailing list this morning, email list. So I tried to send him one quick. I don't know if he's with us now, but I'll circle back with Matt after this meeting. Make sure he gets it out to the Adrian Chamber members. Other DDA matters.
Can I say something here?
Sure.
It wouldn't be a DDA meeting if I didn't whine a little bit about the retail situation downtown, but the truth of the matter is that a lot of these grants and things have been available to bars and restaurants, and people like myself don't qualify for a lot of that because we have no employees. And so we're just, you know, kind of hanging out there. And there's, you know, funds that have been set up for Barstool so that, you know, people get money from more bars and restaurants can get more money, but they aren't doing anything for retail really. And I just want to remind you that we're out there. We've already lost one of our businesses downtown. There might be more. And, you know, some fundraising to help the retail businesses would be a really nice thing to do. And showing up downtown on First Fridays. Looking around again, I've said this before, I didn't see any one of you on First Friday in my store.
Diane, I broke my Christmas budget in your store, and it was a pleasure to have spent that money there. Mary was very appreciative of the things that you picked out. So you did a great job at being very helpful in making those. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'd like to just point out that Brad Maggard's project in the city, while the timing is suspect, the project is wonderful. And I just can't thank Brad enough for taking on that humongous project of beautifying his building there. And it just makes me so proud to be an Adrian resident, to see the kind of energy that people in our community are putting into our downtown. And I can't not bring that up. It's really a great project. Thanks, Brad.
Yeah, no problem. It's going to be a long time before we see any big visual significant results. But if you poke your head up and look up above the eaves there, it looks pretty sweet. So
that is so awesome. Love it. Any other board member comments, since we really are doing board members here?
I just got just a quick comment to Emily. Emily, is there a way you can manipulate that Dara map into like a rack card size, so it's like easier to distribute out to people in the downtown Dara area, more like a thinner card?
Yeah. Our printer is getting delivered today, so I can shoot you an email about that.
Okay.
Can you also send that to me so I can get it up on the Dara section of the website?
Yeah, sorry about that, Michelle. I was supposed to do that.
It's okay.
I apologize. I'll get it to you today, huh?
Thank you.
Emily, I heard that printer's massive, so that'd be fun to have delivered today.
Yeah.
All right. Any other board member comments? So thank you all for being here. Thank you for your commitment to this. I think we have great momentum, lots of energy, a great team, and I appreciate all of you so much. So I will get the bylaws to you this afternoon. I'll get some other information to you all, and I'll look forward to seeing you at our next meeting. We're
Thank
adjourned.
you very much,
Thanks,
Dusty.
Dusty.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Stay warm and healthy.
Yeah.